One Nation, and thanks for joining us on Zanis News to present. My name is Juliet Mtale. Top stories in the news tonight. Government pledges support to ending child marriages. Health facilities to receive medical drugs. Government addresses truck drivers. Plus RIA to connect 4 districts in Wapula. Zanis News in detail. President Hakainde Hichilema says ending child marriages is among government's top priorities. President Hichilema has since pledged its administration's total support against stopping the vice. Speaking in a speech read for him by Minister of Finance and National Planning, Stumbekom Sokotoni, at the National Dialogue between the Parliamentine Caucus on Children and the House of Chiefs on ending child marriage in Lusaka today, President Hichilema lamented that child marriages are a hindrance towards children getting education. The president said the National Child Policy is a demonstration of government's efforts towards issues of child protection. Speaking at the same event, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Gary Nkombo, stressed the importance of traditional leaders getting involved in ending child marriages. And Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Moti, said Parliament will endeavour to support all child-related bills to ensure they are enacted into law.
The National Child Policy has been formulated to provide policy guidance on the implementation of child development and child welfare programs. The policy provides measures and strategies to guide the implementation, while the National Action Plan provides an implementation and institutional framework for a collective and meaningful partnership to implement child development programs.
I think we can end this symposium by bringing out a communique of an intention to take certain bold steps in order to correct what may have gone wrong in the past. We cannot go on to just watch the situation as we go by, as if life is just the way. There are people who are charged with the responsibility of putting things right.
And if well capacitated, the chiefs can initiate the desired change by advocating for the discarding of cultures, customs, and traditional practices that promote and encourage early child marriages in the country.
Evidence and experiences from around the world show that sustained investment in education will significantly contribute to ending child marriage. So we applaud the efforts that the government of Zambia has initiated, increasing funding to schools, bursaries, the recruitment of teachers, reviewing the national curriculum to make it relevant to the learning needs in a fast transforming world.
And Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua says President Hakainde Hichilema empathizes with the learners at Kapiri Girls Technical Boarding Secondary School, whose structure was gutted 3 times this week. Addressing the learners a few hours after the Ministry of Education announced the closure of the institution, Mr. Nanjua says the president empathized with the learners for the traumatic fire episodes. Details in this report.
The recent successive incidents of fires has forced government to temporarily close Kapiri Girls National Technical School. Addressing pupils after the closure of the school, Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua described the situation as devastating.
So this is a very devastating situation to us as provincial administration. We are really frustrated and we are really stressed that an institution like this one can have such kind of a challenge. And the stress of our children is something that we cannot even comprehend. So we are really devastated and disjointed.
However, Mr. Nanjua says government does not intend to keep the school closed for long, adding that the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit will be on site in the shortest possible time to work on the damaged dormitories.
The occurrence of consecutive incidences, I think, has really given us a serious concern that something more needs to be done. So we are saying that for now, we have not yet established the cause of this fire that has ravaged the school on 3 instances, but investigations are ongoing, and there is a team which is already here from the province working with the district. We are expecting another team of experts, forensic experts, who are also coming from the headquarters to help with the investigations. It's the reason why we have decided that for now, the learners may stay away so that a thorough investigation can be carried out.
Meanwhile, Central Province Commissioner of Police, Mukuka Chileshe, disclosed that 10 pupils have been picked by police to help with investigations.
During the course of these investigations, we stationed officers here to guard the place. And when the fire started yesterday, the fire started from a compartment where the owners had vacated. They had gone to sleep elsewhere. So it is one compartment takes about 4 pupils. Those 4 have been picked by police to help with investigations, together with those that they spent a night with. We are talking about almost 10 pupils who we have picked so far.
Pupils have since started leaving following the closure of the institution. Zanis reports in Kaprimposhi District, Central Province.
In agriculture news, the Food Reserve Agency, FRA, has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Zambia National Farmers Union to allow commercial farmers supply maize early. FRA Board Chairman Kelvin Hawezia said the MOU is aimed at creating a market opportunity for the commercial farmers to supply maize to the urgency for national food security. Speaking during the signing ceremony in Lusaka, Mr. Hawezia stated that the MOU will also help to stimulate maize production for the commercial farmers, thus to be able to export to neighboring countries. And ZNFU President Jevis Zimba indicated that the union will ensure that members grow up to about 500,000 metric tons of maize and prioritize the local market in order to ensure national food security for the country.
And the intention today really is to, one, create that assurance for possible cooperation between ourselves and the commercial farmers. Number 2, we want to stimulate maize production through the commercial farmers. As you know very well that commercial farmers in this country have abandoned maize cultivation for obvious reasons. And it is for that reason, Mr. President, that this year's price that we announced is cost reflective, takes into account the regional prices, and you see, we want to make sure that farmers get a reward for their labor. We want to make sure that farmers are not shortchanged. And through this mechanism, we are hoping that the commercial farmers also can come on board and begin to grow maize.
These discussions started 45 days ago, where the FRA wanted to ensure that they are food secure. As you know, this year FRA was quite under stress regarding the maize supply on the market. As a country, we want to promote this early maize production. It's very important for food security. And our plan as a union, we want to ensure that we grow, or the farmers grow, up to 500,000 metric tons, which can either be exported or in need, the FRA can always get it for food security. As we are aware, climate change is with us, and I think it's the only way we can plan. I think this is called Plan B for the country, so that we always avoid the imports. So our plan B is to ensure that we grow this maize. And I think all of you, those who are reading, I think there's some signals that this year we could have some El Nino, although the meteorological department is going to advise as we go on. As you know, the patterns keep changing.
We now take a short break, but still to come, all health facilities to be stocked with medical drugs.
For news and current affairs, entertainment, sports, children's programs, and a host of other events in and beyond our borders, Zanis TV has you covered. On Channel 6 and Channel 458 on Topstar. Zambia will next month host the 22nd Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa Summit for the heads of state and government at the Mulungushi International Conference Center, Kenneth Kaunda Wing. The summit will take place from the 6th to the 8th of June 2023. The theme of the summit is Economic Integration for a Thriving COMESA, anchored on green investment, value addition, and tourism. Over 3,000 delegates from the COMESA member states and beyond are expected to attend the COMESA Summit in Lusaka. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Information and Media.
Welcome back. The Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency, ZAMSA, has reiterated that the agency will ensure that all medical facilities are fully stocked with essential drugs. ZAMSA Managing Director Billy Mwitwa says this is the reason that the agency has procured 42,000 medical kits from Mission Pharma to address the shortage of drugs that has hit some health facilities. Mr. Mwitwa was speaking with Zanis in New Delhi in India. Take a look.
The drug shortages in hospitals and health centers are historical in Zambia. And the issue of referring people from hospitals to private chemists and pharmacies is a well-known agony. But the Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency, ZAMSA, Managing Director Billy Mwitwa, says this is the reason ZAMSA has procured 42,000 medical health center kits to address the challenge.
One may ask this question: what is a medical center kit?
So a health center kit is a package of products, and in this case the products are medicines, which will respond to 90+% of all the ailments that goes to the facility. So in a nutshell, a chance that the health patient goes at the health center, they'll get a service, is increased by over 90%. And in each health center kit, it has a capacity to treat 1,000 patients at the minimum. When we drop 5 health center kits in one facility, it means we have a capacity to treat 90% of those ailments in 5,000 patients.
Matthews Mwale is the Assistant Director Pharmaceutical Services at the Ministry of Health. He answers the question of what is in the center kit.
We have designed it actually deliberately to cater for a number of ailments and services that are delivered at that level. You will realize that at that level we have reproductive health, we have obviously common ailments which we call the top 10 causes of morbidities at that level. So those top 10 causes of morbidities or causes of disease at that level are catered for in that health center kit.
Zambia has a total of 3,400 health facilities, broken down as 2,929 health centers and health posts to be serviced by health center kits, and 135 secondary and tertiary institutions to be catered for by the bulk source system. Pethias Mutali for Zanis News in New Delhi, India.
The Minister of Justice, Mlambo Haimbe, has reaffirmed Zambia's commitment to working with South Africa in achieving social and economic development in the two countries. Mr. Haimbe reiterated the need to work together and remain united as the two countries work towards meeting the various challenges being experienced, which include economic instability, threats to peace and security. The minister was speaking during the commemoration of the 29th anniversary of the Freedom and Democracy Day of South Africa. South Africa's ambassador to Zambia, George Twala, thanked Zambia for being instrumental in the liberation of his country and the international community for the actions coordinated through the anti-apartheid movement.
Across the continent, and in particular throughout our SADC region, this day is one of great significance, as it is a day that we collectively worked hard to bring to fruition. It is a day that reminds each of our countries of how strong we can be when pulling together in the same direction with a shared goal. I wish to take this opportunity to reaffirm on behalf of the President of Zambia, the government of the Republic of Zambia, and indeed the people of Zambia, our commitment to working with the people of South Africa to achieve social and economic development beyond that which has already been achieved for our two peoples.
Which declared that there shall be peace and friendship. And this was not only limited to South Africa or within the borders of South Africa, but it spoke of peace and friendship internationally. I have referred to the fact that we are a product of international community led by the anti-apartheid movement. The long-standing Zambian support for the liberation struggle in Southern Africa led to the establishment of deep mutual bonds between both our peoples. It's worth recalling that the Zambian government allowed the liberation movement, the African National Congress.
Government has requested countries represented by honorary consuls to consider establishing diplomatic missions in Zambia. Lusaka Province Minister Shiu Muleta says this is in order to strengthen cooperation between Zambia and the various countries. Ms. Muleta emphasized that through collaboration and engagement with the honorary consuls, Zambia has benefited in various areas of mutual interest. The minister said this in a speech read for her by Permanent Secretary for Special Duties at Cabinet Office, Chembombula, during the inaugural Joint National Day celebration of 21 countries represented by honorary consuls in Zambia, and representing the 21 honorary consuls from Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Middle East and Oceania. Honorary Consul of Guinea-Bissau, Franco Nuli, praised the Zambian government for the support and opportunity to be allowed to represent their respective countries. Still ahead in the news, government addresses truck drivers at Nakonde border. Let's take a break.
Life is a journey full of varied experiences. Can we reach our desired destiny? Can we achieve our desired goals? If yes, then how? Join Juliet Mutale
on Thursday at 18:30 hours
on How I Made It, a program that highlights various success stories from different personalities with different life experiences and backgrounds.
Catch Zanis TV on Channel 6 DTT and Channel 458 DTH. Zanis TV, the People's Channel.
Hello, it's time for you to know your rights. For ignorance of the law is no defense.
People should report any case of gender-based violence to the police. They should not be tempted to compromise the cases, because compromising a case of gender-based violence is actually an offense.
Zambia, like any other country, has got laws that govern the welfare of its citizens.
We provide some oversight on the police service.
When an officer misconducts himself, he's alone. One person being beaten is enough for the commission to move. The Constitution tells us that the people of Zambia must enjoy their liberties.
Every week on Thursday at 19:30 hours, the Zambia News and Information Services, Zanis, brings to your screens a program dubbed Police and the Community.
If we, the police, and you, member of the public, will work together, because the common enemy we have before us is the criminal.
Catch Zanis TV on Channel 6 DTT and Channel 458 DTH. Zanis TV, the People's Channel.
Zambia will next month host the 22nd Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa Summit for the heads of state and government at the Munungushi International Conference Center, Kenneth Kaunda Wing. The summit will take place from the 6th to the 8th of June 2023. The theme of the summit is Economic Integration for a Thriving COMESA, anchored on green investment, value addition, and tourism. Over 3,000 delegates from the COMESA member states and beyond are expected to attend the COMESA summit in Lusaka. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Information and Media.
Now in Muchinga province, Henry Lumpa Jr. reports that Provincial Minister Henry Sikazwe took time off his busy schedule and visited truck drivers and traders marooned at Nakonde border after their trucks laden with maize were impounded 2 months ago. Mr. Sikazwe assured the drivers that government is conducting verifications to ascertain if the maize was for export. More in this report.
Trucks from both Zambia and Tanzania marooned at the Zambia National Service ZNS dry port in Nakonde district in Mchinga province after they were impounded on suspicion of trying to smuggle maize into Tanzania and Kenya following the recent ban of maize exportation by government. Some truck drivers have been here for over 2 months now without any update on their issues. Speaking when Mchinga Province Minister Henry Sikazwe took time to check on the situation in a bid to find a lasting solution. Some of these truckers complained over the delay to clear them as well as their health concerns.
Our trucks were escorted by the agencies from Isoka up to here Nakonde, and we have been here for more than a month.
We have tried to follow all protocols. Please help us.
Over a month that we have been here, the toilets we use have turned into bathrooms. Also, we don't know when we will be cleared.
However, the provincial minister has since assured the irate truck drivers that authorities will start clearing them by Monday as they have been conducting a verification exercise.
As government, we'll sit down probably by tomorrow. By Monday, we'll come up with a final conclusion. You see, this is the presidential directive that no maize should cross the country. So we are just appealing to our brothers and sisters to become. The government is here for them.
The over 25 trucks laden with maize include 9 Zambian trucks among them. Henry Lumpa Jr., Zanis in Nakonde, Muchinga province.
Thank you, Henry, for that report. We now move to Lapula province, where Provincial Minister Deriki Chilundika flagged off the grading of feeder roads in Mansa district. Zanis witnessed the flagging off of the roads, which will be done by the Zambia National Service. Here's a report.
The increase in the Constituency Development Fund from 25.7 million kwacha to 28.3 million kwacha in 2023 has seen a number of local authorities buy earth-moving equipment, which some sections of society have said is expensive, and that councils have no capacity to maintain them. This is true, especially that in some councils, the earth-moving equipment are no longer functional. In Mansa, however, Mansa Municipal Council is using the Zambia National Service to grade 27 kilometers of township roads in the district. Luapula Province Minister Derek Chilundika has since urged local authorities to seek services of earth-moving equipment from the Zambia National Service.
The project is quite ambitious and it's quite, impressive because you see the quality of work that ZNS is putting up. We are trying to encourage that because we have discovered that when we use ZNS to execute such works, it's cheaper than other private contractors. So I think people need to appreciate that at times the use of ZNS is going to help us cover a larger portion of the roads that we need to create.
Chiriapa Ward Councillor Samuel Mumba is aware of the positive impact that the CDF is having in communities.
But as you can see, standing in front of us is a grader. And each and every time our community members are passing through this road, this is evident enough that CDF is a reality. And this is just the beginning of many infrastructure projects to take place in Chiliapa and Mansa at large. So we want to appreciate that going forward, our people who appreciate the real impact of CDF as evidenced by the launching of grading the township roads.
Meanwhile, Mansa Municipal Council Town Clerk Josephine Mwanza has highlighted some of the projects being implemented under CDF.
So under CDF, what we are taking to the communities now is a full package in terms of infrastructure. If it is a clinic that we are putting up, we ensure that we have a clinic we have the house for the staff to provide the service as well as running water.
Chipini Makasa, Zanis, Mansa District.
In other news, the Rural Electrification Authority REA has today signed a memorandum of understanding with 4 constituencies in Wapula province under the Priority Rural Electrification Project that is aimed at electrifying districts. Speaking during the signing ceremony, REA Chief Executive Officer Linus Chanda named the districts that will be connected to the grid as Chiengi, Chipiri, Milenge and Nchelenge. Details in this report.
The team from the Rural Electrification Authority, REA, is today in Wapula Province. The team is here to sign the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with 4 constituencies in Wapula Province on the Priority Rural Electrification Project aimed at electrifying the 4 districts. Speaking during the signing ceremony, REA Chief Executive Officer Linus Chanda said this will see the 4 districts such as Chiengi, Chipili, Milengi and Chelenge being connected to the grid.
Today, the MOUs that we are signing will enable the local authorities that we are signing with and REA to realize many benefits of collaborative efforts. One of the notable benefits is the joint financing of projects to leverage 2 financing streams and enhance our capacity to reduce the lead time for which targeted communities will receive electricity. The MOUs will also aim to build capacity of qualified members of the rural population in these constituencies in terms of execution of projects, project management, data management, financial literacy, and indeed operations and maintenance of electricity infrastructure.
This signing ceremony has excited Wapula Province Minister Derek Chulundika, who called for more councils in the province to partner with REA for more connections.
Dear colleagues, such initiatives like the partnership we are witnessing today between REA and the local authorities will significantly increase financing for rural electrification, and for the first time in the Zambian history that REA received the highest allocation of rural electrification funds in 2023, amounting to 743 million kwacha.
Chelenge Town Council Secretary Collins Ndilima gave a vote of thanks to REA and government.
I want to thank on behalf of the community back in Chelenge, in Chipiri, in Milenge, and in Chiengi, that what government has done, it is a tremendous development that will give the people of these 4 districts that they have not been seeing in a long time.
Earlier, the team paid a courtesy call on the provincial minister. Jane Simalumba Zanis in Mansa.
And also in the news, government has allocated 1.7 million kwacha for the construction of a bridge at Luatembo Crossing Point in Nalikwanda constituency of Mongu District. Nalikwanda constituency member of Parliament Kanonso Simunji says the bridge will be constructed using the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. Mr. Simunji revealed that the contractor has already been engaged and construction is expected to start in the last quarter of this year.
This is Luatembo Crossing Point in Nalikwanda constituency, Mongu District of Western Province. For many years, Nalikwanda residents have been subjected to risk their lives by crossing this bridge. These planks have been put here by community members. Nalikwanda constituency member of parliament, Konoso Simunji, told Zanis in Mongu that 1.7 million kwacha constituency development fund has been allocated for the construction of the bridge.
Kona matata of mana Nalikwanda. Kuli never remota the summer examination papers with the kwa. Mana karitable akukonali. Crossing point we feel about current company will feel it. It could be crossing point here. Never till January, Manakoya Pula, so parallel. Last month, my prayer was not to the first site. Kona Basikata, Nina Kusavadi Beres. So Kona would table of Manamana Kwanda war. Mean Ambia kwa wiko kula ni ya Litawa, kula ni ya Diande, kula ni ya Nasange, kula ni ya Kalala. Pia ya Kalala ni Nasange ni upa kulima contractor bata hapa yeye ona aluzika pa contractor utali. So kuna ma challenges of mana Likwanda. Kono na lisepa ya kuli by September October crossing point ya Kafela. Ili kuli my inputs asange alipatela alikolo nizemu likusfa kwa tena. Otherwise kuna challenge yule ni wana Likwanda. Now for now we want to make sure that by end of this year this problem is sorted out. You can see it's deep. The other time there was a vehicle which fall into this side of the river. As we got stuck the other side the other time. For about 2-3 hours, we were charged 600 for people to go out. As you can see, these planks are coming from Mukwa. So I think this must be done by the people who are digging in rocks. Yes, otherwise it's a big problem. Because imagine if you pass through here with a truck of desks and it breaks, the bridge gives in. Or cement. What will happen? That's why we want to do crossing points which are on the northern end first, so that when we finish, then we can do the crossing points on the southern end. Otherwise, there's no way we can take the inputs to the southern end of the coast.
Constituency Development Fund was introduced as a means to encourage local development in rural and urban communities across the country. Namakao Kayombo, reporting for Zanis in Mongu, Western Province.
Mozambique Airline will on 30th June 2023 launch its first inaugural direct flight between Maputo and Lusaka. This came to light when the country's airline head of marketing, Eunice Matadiane, announced the development, and when she led a delegation that visited the Zambia High Commission in Maputo. Ms. Matadiane said the airline will fly to and from Maputo and Lusaka 3 times a week. And Zambia's acting High Commissioner to Mozambique, Lloyd Himambo, told Zanis in a press statement that the development was among President Hakainde Hichilema's agenda when he recently visited that country. Currently, there are no direct flights between Lusaka and Maputo, and travelers have to connect through Johannesburg or Addis Ababa. On 8th May 2023, the Zambia Civil Aviation Authority granted Mozambique Airline permission to operate the Lusaka-Maputo route. In other news, Archie Hinchcliffe Disability Intervention has taken up the initiative to engage with children with disabilities in an interactive play with different games so as to boost their esteem in Kanyama West, Lusaka. Archie Hinchcliffe Disability Intervention Projects Officer Violet Sitwala says the organization has observed that most disabled children are either isolated or withdrawn from the public due to stigma and discrimination. Munambonge has the details in this report.
Social activities improve the cognitive, physical, and emotional well-being of children and young people. However, children with disabilities usually face widespread stigma and discrimination when engaging in social activities based on deeply rooted negative perception about disability. Meanwhile, Archie Hinchcliffe Disability Intervention has a different perception on the matter and took time to engage with the children with disabilities and those without in Kanyama West.
We are also empowering the parents with different skills. First of all, it's knowledge. We're empowering them with knowledge because we know how valuable it is. So they understand the rights that the children have. They understand what disability is, how it comes, and then they formed support groups where they are able to support each other in different issues that pertain to their lives. And then in these same support groups, they're also doing savings and different other projects. For instance, one group is doing peanut butter making. Then for the youths, they've also formed groups. If you look at the slippers that I'm holding, these are made by youths with disabilities. So this, they were empowered by ZECREP. They were given capital by ZECREP. It's one of the small grants projects that we have to empower them economically, because most of these youths haven't been to school. Some don't even have any skill. They are just in the compound doing nothing. So we thought it's important for them to do something constructive.
And AHDI focal point person explains the importance of socializing in the lives of children.
To implement what an activity we call inclusive child play. So this means that we come in the community, in our catchment area in Kanyama, where we get children with disability and those without disability, and we come together to play together. So that helps us to raise awareness and also just for the children to interact and socialize with other children. Yes, so we find that most of the children are usually locked up in the homes, those with disability, and this is the time we get to also sensitize the mother to say, okay, these children deserve to also play, and also tell the community these children deserve to play, and they will have to mix them together with those without disability and those with disability. And through this play, we're able to identify what the child developmental milestone we're going to work on next, and also how we can help them. Through here, we can work on what we call fine motor movements, and just for them to just have fun.
The stigma surrounding children with disabilities often results in them being left out on social gatherings, leading to lack of awareness on such cases. Some mothers taking care of children with disabilities explain how the AHDI project has positively changed their lives.
Chama chinandikondwesa maningi nchakuti vanangenesa muna vazibambo vazibambo kai sivenzoziva veve kuti chama chitisikaso ni chani sivenzoziva kuti ni condition olo ni chani. So pamene vanamboenda kuma meetings nao vanamboona to kanshi ni condition chabe sikulowewa.
Nili na mwana wa cerebral palsy, so mukuchita physio tinabwata kumana na ba zekreb by then benzeni ba AHDI vanamboti kumanisa pamozi monga ma parents vatupunzisa ko home based physiotherapy, nutrition, modi yose la vana vatu ava vana vonse vali na disabilities kudya vamavutika.
Muna Chibende for Zanis in Lusaka.
The Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, has donated assorted items worth 200,000 kwacha to the Children's Hospital at the University Teaching Hospital in Lusaka. COMESA Secretary General Chileshe Kapwepwe says the regional economic bloc decided to donate the items as part of its corporate social responsibility. Details in this report.
The Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, is known for promoting trade and regional integration. However, this time around, the regional economic bloc decided to give back to the community. The Children's Hospital at Lusaka's University Teaching Hospital was the recipient of assorted items from COMESA, aimed at improving the welfare of patients and health workers.
We came to support the UTA Children's Hospital. The support we are giving is really to not just from the medical side, but from the comfort of the patient and supporting the caregivers. You know, the caregivers are usually us, the mothers. So we thought of the mothers and said, look, let's do something to support them. We mainly are donating various items, but as I said, which are supportive, like adult beds, baby cots, pillowcases, a fridge, a microwave, a fan, and various other items are valued at just over 200,000 kwacha. For us, the work that is done here is invaluable. We can't put a price to the commitment from yourselves and your teams, the nurses, the support staff. And therefore it was important that we show that not just by appreciating and clapping from afar, but actually coming here to see for ourselves what the needs are and to see how the support we're giving will be applied.
And management at the Children's Hospital appreciated the donation from COMESA.
Efforts like this that complement government's efforts in ensuring that we provide quality care for our children. And so there can be no better way to say thank you, but to just really appreciate this gesture, this thought about these children that we are deciding to give to today. Our hematology ward is our busiest ward in terms of absolute numbers. And in this particular time, we are busiest because in the cold season, most of our patients there have sickle cell disease. And most of them develop what we call crisis, where they get very painful episodes. And that is to do with the weather. And so it's this time that ward keeps us busiest. And that's where we have most of our issues. And so this intervention is very timely for us as a hospital. And we would just like to assure you that everything that's being given to us today will be directed at the intended purpose.
Chief Nursing Officer Victoria Ntala, thanked COMESA for the gesture.
The donation has actually come at the right time, because this is the time when we receive a lot of children because of the weather. We are so excited.
COMESA also toured the Children's Hospital. Reporting for Zanis, I am Farisai Lungu in Lusaka.
Finally in the news, the Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary Administration, Joel Kamoko, says the overwhelming number of children enrolling into schools means a growing need for infrastructure and learning facilities. Mr. Kamoko was making the remarks when he received a donation of 80 desks and sanitary towels with 125,000 kwacha at Chawama Secondary School in Lusaka. Here are the details.
Not only do classroom desks contribute to providing suitable sitting postures in classrooms, but they promote a conducive learning environment among learners. This is why, in trying to ensure that the directive by President Hakainde Hichilema that no child sits on the floor by December 2023, Minister of Education Permanent Secretary was at Chawama Secondary School to receive 80 desks and sanitary towels worth 125,000 kwacha donated by Absa Bank.
Ministry of Education strategically sitting together and ensuring throughout the country our children have what to learn from. They have the desks they need. We owe it to them. They don't owe us anything. We owe it to our children to ensure that they learn. Only then will they fight poverty. Absa, we want to thank you for taking the leadership, even the topical ESG agenda, to a large scale. The bank has championed forest landscaping, and you are reminding us we have a duty to our own community. And you have already committed to plant 1 million trees over the next 3 years.
And Absa Managing Director explained the bank's effort in complementing government's policies.
We just hope to you and the teachers you do look after the desks, and I was happy to see that although there are 80 desks, they will be able to accommodate about 240 pupils. And for us, that's really good, because there's no need for people to sit on the floor. And as private sector, as Absa, we would do our part to make sure that we complement the work the government is doing.
Chawama Secondary School head boy thanked Absa for the kind gesture.
Presenting my fellow learners and Chawama Secondary School at large in conveying our sincere gratitude for the donations received today in form of desks and sanitary towels from Absa. Indeed, we can attest that you have the plight of the learner at heart and your willingness in supporting the policies of the government of the Republic of Zambia to ensure that no learner sits on the floor by December 2023. Surely, your donations will be put into good use and will go a long way. May the Lord bless you as you continue supplementing government efforts. I thank you for your kind attention.
The PS and Absa Managing Director also toured the school and planted trees which were donated by Plant a Million Trees initiative at the school. For Zanis in Lusaka, I'm Mona Chivende.
As we end the news, we recap on the headlines. Government pledges support to ending child marriages. Health facilities to receive medical drugs. Government addresses truck drivers. Plus RIA to connect 4 districts in Wapula. Thank you so much for staying with us. Remember, we are one Zambia, one nation. On behalf of the Inter Zanis production team, my name is Juliet Mtala saying bye-bye.